Hi everybody, hello. I don't know where I'm live on today. I always have to check because I keep going live in wrong places, but hey, whatever. Okay, cool. I'm on my personal page. That's fine. Hi to those of you that don't know me, and I have a lot of new friends, which is why I decided to go live on my personal page because I have a lot of new contacts. So, to those of you that don't know me, hi, I'm Marina, and I'm a mentor for spiritual and creative entrepreneurs. I help them birth their big visions and create their first 5K or maybe even 10K in their business. Um, I work with a variety of different industries, everybody from loan officers to interior designers to birth doulas, those people that have a creative and spiritual mindset and have a very unique vision. I pretty much create a process and a system for them to birth it through and create amazing high-end packages that then help destroy the imposter syndrome like we did for one of my clients yesterday. So, hi Maya, good to see you. As you're popping in, say hi. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I am going to talk about how with one of my clients we went from oh my gosh, how much should I charge hourly and comparing rates to what is existing to fuck that, let's go ahead and make a high-end package instead. And how she skipped out of my place. She's actually an in-person client. She skipped out of my place, tears streaming down her cheeks, like super stoked about going ahead and serving people. She was stoked. She was stoked. And she went from like comparing herself to the industry around her as far as like how low people are charging. And I'm going to talk about how we guided her through that, like what exactly we did yesterday in order to destroy the imposter syndrome altogether, pronounce it dead. Like it was just no longer a thing. We birthed her high end package to the point where she is confident to sell it now. She sees the value in it, and she sees how she can create any conversation, how that can become a sales call potentially for her to create this high end offer. For her specifically, she is a pre, during, and postpartum mentor. So she supports women and the family unit at all stages of pregnancy. So her services are varied in regards to physical, mental support, being there during birth, etc., being there for postpartum comfort. Um, so as we were creating her high-end offer, the way that I walk my clients through initially is we go through what I call the weightlifting process. Before you run a marathon, you need to train and you need to do some weightlifting. For most spiritual and creative entrepreneurs, especially those who are very spiritually inclined, we have been overfed this information that, oh, your purpose is just gonna like plop into your lap out of nowhere and your clients are just gonna appear out of nowhere. Yes and no, but you do need to create the foundation. You do need to create you do need to create the container in which your clients can plop in. Like you need to create a bank account in order for your business accounts to receive money, right? You do need to create a foundation on what it is that you're selling. You do need to create a foundation of what looks like a business proposal for your potential clients. So the kind of thing that I walk my clients through, initially we start off with getting them really clear on what it is that they are really good at. Because a lot of times, whatever they're like, for instance, for my client, she's very intuitive. She has a lot of knowledge about different options during and post, pre, post, and after. Sorry, pre, during, and postpartum. She has a lot of knowledge about how to facilitate somebody through different stages of this kind of process, right? So yesterday, what we did, we initially got her really well. This was throughout our time together. We initially got her really clear on what are the things that she's actually really overjoyed at doing for people. What kind of transformations has she provided in the past? We went on what I would like to call a scavenger hunt for her brilliance, for her genius, whatever. Because a lot of times for people, you need to kind of be mirrored. You need to have it mirrored to you because what you think you're just like naturally good at, you usually discount. Because in the eyes of your own, you're just kind of like, well, yeah, I'm just good at it, and you assume that other people are too. And a lot of times that's not the case. So what we do is we create a mirror from other people, from other testimonials, whatever, to just kind of show her the themes that have been following her whole entire life, to show her what are the things that she's good at. So then we go on a really extensive process of market research. If you guys haven't seen the market research, training yet, come into my group. I am doing a market research, or I did a market research workshop last week, and it was pretty profound. I pretty much described the kind of questions you should be asking, and it is not industry specific. You can definitely get value out of it. If you have not seen it yet, go ahead, join the group. It's still up for at least another week, and then I'm going to take it down and use it as an opt-in. Anyway, so then we went on this long, extensive process of market research. We connected her to literally anyone and everyone that we could think of that is within the industry. More specifically now, um, as we started to create her offer, which is the next step, as we started to create the offer, she started developing doubts, right, within the people in this industry and how much they're charging and what is actually available. So, what we really needed to do, we needed to create evidence for her of the kinds of things, payments, and services that people are doing that are outside of her known sphere. So, she started getting worried about the community around her charging very little. And she's just like, how am I going to create this high-end package, especially in the community around me? How am I going to go ahead and spread this beautiful work if I, if the community around me only charges this much? How am I going to, make sure that I don't disrupt the harmony within this community of doulas? How do I go ahead and do that? And she started doubting herself. She started doubting whether or not this client even exists that's going to pay her for pre, during, and postpartum support on every level. And so, what we did with her is we created a new schedule. We created a new focus to infuse into her workday this kind of like inspiration bomb. Is essentially go on a scavenger hunt of this reality that you are envisioning. Go on a scavenger hunt to find yourself the evidence of it existing. So, for instance, for her, is charging high-end prices for pre, during, and postpartum support. I'm like, go look at celebrities, go look at people who live in Wailea. I live in Maui, in the Grand Wailea, or I live in Maui, and Wailea is like one of the ritziest neighborhoods here. I'm like, go on the drive in Wailea and check out like the big houses there and think of how much people are paying for personal assistance there, let alone a birth doula. I'm like, go on Facebook groups, go on and find yourself mentors, doulas, anybody within the pregnancy and birth industry that are charging high end prices, and to who and for whom. Who are these people serving? Go find yourself every single piece of evidence that you can. So we went ahead and did that. We infused her with this kind of like newfound inspiration of like, okay, you can't look at the community around you for the reality that doesn't yet exist in your mind, because what you're shooting for is so much higher. What you're shooting for is so much higher, and of course you're going to get imposter syndrome. Of course you're going to get imposter syndrome, especially because you're surrounding yourself with people who are only charging this much, and the kind of service that you see yourself providing is so much more than that. So then when we created her offer, we went really deep into the process, right? We went really deep into step by step defining what is she going to provide pre-partum, what kind of support, how many hours a week, what is she going to do with her clients. We created a really fun offer where she infuses it with dancing, where she takes them to the beach, where she takes them to meet like other breastfeeding moms in the area to like create a sense of community for these moms. We created a super fun and unique offer that is super tailored to the client's needs on what we found in her market research, right? So we created a really fun and amazing offer, and as we were going through the process, yeah, we got a little bit obsessive about it, but this is what I call the weightlifting. And the reason why this is important is because when you are creating an offer, you need to know what you're going to do with your clients so that when you are presented with a potential sales conversation, you know exactly what to say. So next time she comes across a pregnant woman, she's going to be like, oh, I know you probably are challenged with this, this, and this because she found this in the market research, right? And I know how that can be because she heard so many people say that to her, that this is how it is. She's going to repeat it in the same exact words that other prospects have been repeating it in. The same exact words to literally like mirror back to them like, hey, I hear you, I feel you, I see you, I understand you on a deeper level than you can possibly imagine. So that instantly connects her with her ideal clients, prospects, whatever. And then she has this amazing process, she has this amazing offer, be like, well, actually, this is the kind of work that I do. So, during this time of like, your third trimester, when you're challenged with your big belly, what I've created is a really amazing thing for women to create these like dance and stretching exercises that I do with my clients. And why would somebody not be interested? Why would somebody not be like, yeah, tell me more. I'd love to consult you. I'd love to hire you as like my doula, right? Like, why would somebody not want to do that? So creating this kind of foundation where you do the heavy weightlifting of market research, where you do the kind of heavy lifting of creating a process specifically for these clients, where you really, really, really hash this out is what kills the imposter syndrome. Because at that point in time, instead of being like, who the fuck am I to provide service to them? What happens in your mind is like, I've done all the research. I know exactly what these women are going to say because I heard it at least 30 times. I recommend that people get on calls with at least 20 people whenever they do market research or more. I've personally talked to at least like 200 over the last 2 years, but that's just me. Whoever, anyone, whoever, because no market research is bad market research, because you find out what you don't want in your ideal clients, even if you're not talking to the ones who might be. So, sorry, I digress. I get really excited about market research. This kind of heavy lifting, if you will, of setting the foundation is what's been skipped in a lot of creative and spiritual entrepreneurship world. And what it creates this discordance of like, yeah, the clients appear out of nowhere. Well, what the fuck are you going to do with them? Do you know what you're going to do with them? No. And this is why you need the process for it. This is what you need of like, how are you going to facilitate this client who shows up out of nowhere? So the kind of work that I do with my clients is both energetic and this kind of heavy lifting process work, because it's important to be able to show up in front of your prospects and tell them exactly that, hey, I understand you, I see you, I feel you, and I created a path specifically for you to get you to, a pleasant pregnancy, to get you an ideal interior design space. One of my clients is an interior designer, and we're creating a package for her right now, to get you your next $5,000. And one of my clients actually sold their first $5,000 package today. So that's their first ever sale. And it was a $5,000 package after only 4 weeks of us working together. By going through this kind of process, by going through this kind of heavy lifting, right? By going through this kind of training. Because what happens is, while your process and your market research may change, while your clients may constantly change, you having that is your training. It's like your heavy lifting before you run the marathon. Are you necessarily lifting weights when you're running the marathon? No, you're not. You're absolutely not. But you absolutely require that in order to perform in your marathon to the best of your ability. So by doing this kind of heavy lifting before, what we do is pretty much essentially set up my clients to create a high-end offer, to create confidence, because it's not only that we're getting their intuitive senses on board of like, I am amazing and I'm awesome, but we have it on paper to prove it. Because once you see your own path and you're like, wow, look at this path that I designed for this client, and look at exactly how each one of these steps is going to take them to where I want to take them, you get excited. And yesterday, she left my place, like skipping out of here, like ready to go live her purpose. And originally, she was afraid of, like, how much are people around me charging, to being like, $4,000 is not that much. My other client who sold their $5,000 package, they started with 3. After going through this process, not only did they raise their price, but they sold it at $5,000 today, because they saw the value of it. They saw exactly how much packed amazing material is in their program, and they saw exactly how they're going to be able to take their client to their next level. And that completely pronounces the imposter syndrome dead, completely, altogether. So, I mean, because at that point, you're not just like sitting there doing affirmations and meditations and journaling, which I do with my clients almost at the beginning of every session. We infuse it with some sort of energetic work, with some sort of a dispel, because you do have to have your body and energetic essence on board with what you're doing. But a lot of what we do is this kind of heavy lifting. A lot of what we do is this kind of like training and like, okay, So right now you don't have the evidence for this potential person existing, for this potential client existing. Let's go find her. Let's go find you that evidence. Okay, so right now you're not sure of what you're going to do with the clients. Let's go ahead and get on call with them and ask them what they want and create an offer from that space. Okay, so right now you have no idea what your gifts are. Let's go ahead and go find them. And that is the kind of stuff that I do with my clients. And you guys, right now we are at 5 weeks left until the new year. And my 6 week intensive is designed to create your next $5,000 in your business, no matter who you are and what you do. Ideally, I work with spiritually inclined entrepreneurs who already have a spiritual practice. The intensive is ideal for individuals who already have an audience, who already have facilitated transformations within other people, who already have had perhaps clients and perhaps are doing one-off or hourly sessions. That's who the intensive is ideal for, is to create your first high-end package and to create your first $5,000 within 6 weeks. I also still have slots in my immersive. Before the end of the year, imagine having your next or your first $5,000 in business. The immersive program is for somebody who has no idea where to start, who's just like completely lost and has a big vision and it's just like no idea how the fuck do I even start birthing it through. That is what I'm really good at. I'm really good at inflating your big vision for your own inspiration and deflating it into the tiny budding steps of reality so that you know exactly what kind of steps to take to birth this into reality. So it doesn't cost you anything to talk to me. It is, like I said, 5 weeks to December, and it is very possible for you to create five, if not even $10,000 in your business, depending on how much of a go-getter you are. So if you are a go-getter, go ahead and book a call with me for either the intensive or the immersive. We'll go ahead and speak about exactly how I'm going to take you to your next $5,000 or 10. We're going to talk to you about exactly what you need and your next steps, and then we're going to go ahead and get you signed up, and you're going to have your first $5,000 by the end of the year. That way you can walk into 2020 already having a set up foundation. You've already done the heavy lifting and you know how to do this. So that is my intent for my programs. And I look forward to speaking with you. Like I said, my programs are designed for spiritual and creative entrepreneurs. The industry does not necessarily matter, but go ahead and get on a call with me if you're not sure. If you're not sure if this is going to work for you, I'm going to evaluate you. No, I don't accept everybody into my programs. I want to make sure that this is the right fit for both of us, the kind of speed that we move in, and the kind of guidance that I provide. So go ahead and book that call if you want your next $5,000 in the next 5 weeks or more. We're going to go ahead and talk and devise a process specifically for you. Having said that, I hope you have a wonderful Thursday, and I'll talk with you soon. Cheers.